Okay, so you're getting ready for your qualifying exams, and you absolutely need to know Leland and Pyle. You've probably seen it in the real world, right? Founders of these huge companies holding on to a ton of their own stock, even after they go public. It seems, well, it seems kind of risky. This paper from 1977 gives us the answer, and we're going to break it all down so you can nail it on your exam.
I mean, really think about it. Why would you keep so much of your personal wealth tied up in one single risky asset? The first thing they teach you in finance is to diversify it. Yet, these entrepreneurs, they do the exact opposite. This is the big puzzle that Leland and Pyle set out to solve.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the core problem, this information gap between entrepreneurs and their potential investors. Then we'll look at the really clever solution, using equity as a signal. After that, we'll see how this all settles into a market equilibrium. And finally, we'll lock down the big takeaways that you need to remember. Okay, let's dive right in. To get this model, you first have to understand the fundamental friction that makes it all necessary. Why is it so difficult to get a new venture off the ground? Well, it all boils down to one simple fact. Somebody knows more than somebody else. This right here is the heart of the issue. You've got the entrepreneur on one side. They've poured their life into this project. They know its potential inside and out. That's what the model calls mu. It's true quality. But then you've got the market, and the market is flying blind. Investors can't see mu, so what can they do? They have to guess, they have to price the project based on the average of all the other projects out there.
So this imbalance has a name: informational asymmetry. And it is a massive, massive problem in finance. If investors can't tell the good projects from the bad ones, they might just decide it's too risky to invest at all. You end up in that classic market for lemons scenario where good projects can't get funding and the whole market just grinds to a halt.
And you might be thinking, well, hold on, this seems easy to fix, right? If you've got a killer project, just tell people. Shout it from the rooftops. Tell investors it's a sure thing. But it's not that simple. The problem, of course, is that talk is cheap. Every single entrepreneur, whether their project is the next big thing or a complete disaster, has the exact same incentive to stand up and say, my project is amazing. Investors aren't dumb. They know this. So any announcement, any promise is basically worthless. It's just noise. So if talking doesn't work, what's left? How does an entrepreneur with a genuinely fantastic project convince the market they're the real deal? Well, they need an action so costly, so hard to fake that an entrepreneur with a bad project wouldn't dare do it. And this is the genius of the model. The signal is alpha, the fraction of the company that the founder holds on to. This isn't just talk. This is a real, observable, legally binding commitment. It's the ultimate way to put your money where your mouth is. Now, this slide is absolutely crucial because it shows how the signal works to separate the good from the bad. Just think about the incentives. If you truly believe your project is a winner, it has a high mu, you're happy to hold a big stake. Yeah, it's risky, but the potential payoff is enormous. But if you know your project is a dud, your number one priority is to sell off as much as you can, diversify your money into something safe before everyone else figures it out. And here is the key to the whole thing. The signal is credible because it is costly. For the owner of a bad project, trying to fake the signal by holding on to a lot of stock, well, it's incredibly painful. It means keeping their own wealth tied to a sinking ship instead of moving it to safety. That cost, that loss of diversification, is something only an entrepreneur with a genuinely good project is willing to pay. So what happens when the market figures this out? When investors learn to read the signal? Well, you get a whole new set of rules for valuing a company. You get a signaling equilibrium. This quote is basically the punchline of the whole paper. In equilibrium, the market isn't flying blind anymore. They've learned the code. A founder keeping more skin in the game, a higher alpha, is rationally interpreted as a signal of a higher quality project. So the firm's value goes up right alongside the founder's ownership stake. Okay, now for the kind of question you're definitely going to get on your exam. This system works, right? It solves the information problem. It lets good projects get the funding they need. But is it perfect? Is it efficient? And the answer is a hard no. While it's a heck of a lot better than a complete market failure where nothing gets funded, it's not the ideal outcome. This solution comes with a real cost. So where does this cost come from? Well, look at this. In order to send that credible signal, even the entrepreneurs with the best projects are forced to be under-diversified.
They have to hold way more of their company's stock than any finance textbook would say is optimal. That forced risk-taking, that misallocation of capital, that's the welfare cost society has to pay to get around the information problem.
All right, let's wrap this up. We need to talk about why this model is so important and make sure you have the key points absolutely locked in.
Now, one of the coolest implications of this theory is it gives us a rock-solid reason for why financial intermediaries, think venture capital firms, investment banks, even exist. They spend a ton of time and money doing due diligence to figure out which projects are good. But how can we trust their judgment? Same reason. They put their own capital on the line. Their skin in the game is a credible signal that they believe in the companies they're backing.
Okay, if a Leland and Pyle question comes up, this is your holy trinity right here. 1. The signal is the founder's retained equity, alpha, which reveals hidden quality, mu. 2. The signal only works because it's costly, and that cost is the founder giving up valuable diversification. And 3. This whole thing gives us a powerful, information-based reason for why a firm's capital structure matters, and why the market cheers when it sees founders with a lot of skin in the game during an IPO. You remember these 3 points, you're going to be in fantastic shape.